झोपेत पण तिचंच ऐक. माझ्याकडे लक्ष देऊ नको. बायकोच्या ताटाखालचं मांजर.
Hello and welcome to Do I Like It, a Quint production where we review anything and everything under the sun. My name is Prateek and in this episode, I'll tell you do I like Soul Kadhi by Netflix Take 10. Okay, so we all know that Netflix is in a bit of a relevance crisis right now. Even the international revenue is going down. India mein to matlab I am personally not a fan of the kind of content that Netflix is producing, and I think even they know that. So to tackle that, they partnered with Film Companion, हमारा इंडिया का very favorite YouTube film community, and they have scouted 10 short filmmakers जिनके साथ they'll be making like 10 different varied kinds of short films, and they are giving them a budget, etc, etc, and this project is called Take 10. And in this episode I am going to talk about one of those films. The film's name is Soul Kadhi, Soul Kadhi, and it's a play on the Goan dish Soul Kadhi, जिसके बारे में मेरे को मेरी co-producer अंजलि ने just अभी बताया है, and it's apparently a nice cooling drink. तो let's see how the film is. अब जो short films होती हैं ना, especially जो YouTube short films होती हैं, उनका सबसे बड़ा डाइसी सिचुएशन ये होती है दैट ओवर टाइम इतने क्लीशेज डेवलप हो गए हैं शॉर्ट फिल्म के स्पेस में कि देयर वुड बी अ एन एस्टैब्लिशिंग शॉट, देयर वुड बी क्लोज अप शॉट्स ऑफ स्लो मोशन थिंग्स इन मोशन, कहीं पे क्लोज अप में घड़ी टिक 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 कर रही है, एक बंदा सो रहा है, ऑल ऑफ दैट. सो दीज क्लीशेज दे वर्क ऑब्वियसली बिकॉज दे आर क्लीशेज फॉर अ रीजन, बट अब थोड़ा सा ना वो डन टू डेथ मामला हो गया. But this film tackles that in a very, very beautiful way where it doesn't waste any time in establishing the world और कहाँ पर है ये story set, कहाँ पर है. All you know that it's in a homestay, and it just from the first second it makes really good use of its time. और वो कुछ ऐसा establishing shot वगैरह के ड्रामे में पड़ती ही नहीं. It सीधे goes into action. The story of the film is as follows. Obviously छोटी सी फिल्म है तो I'm not going to reveal much. There's a homestay जिसकी deal हो रही है, and it's a Marathi film by the way. So Varad is the head of the family who is doing the deal, and his mother has just passed away, and because she has passed away and now they are turning their house into a homestay. The wife Radha is like they're newly married, and इसके बीच में क्या होता है that the mother Uma, who's played brilliantly by Shubhangi Gokhale, her spirit hasn't departed to the next realm fully, and she's still hanging around there. So the whole film after that is about what happens, and the mother and daughter-in-law Uma और राधा के बीच में जो भी banter होता है ना. The first thing I would want to mention that I really like about this film was that it really touches upon the role of food in an Indian man's life, and not even in an Indian man's life, more so in an Indian woman's life, because Indians are foodie. And a very nice conflict point of this film rests upon the daughter-in-law not knowing how to make this soul kadhi very well, and the mother teaches her, the ghost of the mother teaches her. And in general I really like films about food, because food is that activity, like cooking food or eating food is that activity which is very primal to humans. It engages all of our senses. You can see things, you are smelling, touching, tasting, texture वगैरह, everything is involved in food, right? So it can be used really well as a metaphor for a lot of things, and that's what they've done here, where the mother-in-law teaching her daughter-in-law the recipe of the soul curry is like that passing down the mantle. और वो पूरी फिल्म में she's sort of giving her some lessons that she couldn't exercise in her lifetime, और वो बोल रही कि तुम इसको अच्छे से करना. अच्छा, एक 5 सेकंड का साइड लेते हैं. Before we move forward, I want to tell you about this new show that we are bringing for my Hindi-speaking public. I don't know why I had to make it sound so grand, but we have a new show coming. It's called Siyasat, and it is being hosted by Upendra. He is a really, really nice political storyteller. He'll be अच्छा, बाय द वे, ये हिंदी का शो है ना, तो मैं हिंदी में बात करता हूँ। सियासत हमारा नया क्विंट हिंदी का पॉडकास्ट आने वाला है एंड इसको होस्ट कर रहे हैं, होस्ट का मेरे को हिंदी नहीं पता, आई एम सो सॉरी, बट इसको होस्ट कर रहे हैं उपेंद्र। एंड इसमें हम लेके आएंगे इंडिया के पॉलिटिकल क्या होता है, इंडिया के राजनीतिक इतिहास से जुड़े हुए किस्से और कहानियाँ। एवरी वीक, हर हफ्ते हम एक पॉलिटिकल फिगर, एक राजनीतिक शख्सियत को देखेंगे और उसके अराउंड कुछ अच्छे एनेक्डोट्स, किस्से, यादें, फैक्ट्स वगैरह बताएंगे। एंड द एपिसोड विल बी स्ट्रीमिंग ऑन यूट्यूब ऑन द क्विंट हिंदीज यूट्यूब चैनल एंड इट्स ऑल्सो स्ट्रीमिंग ऑन योर फेवरेट पॉडकास्ट ऐप. एंड नाउ लेट्स कंटिन्यू टॉकिंग अबाउट सोल कड़ी. The character work was a lot of it happened between the lines. मतलब बहुत सारी चीज़ें बैक स्टोरी में इन्होंने निकाल दी. बैक स्टोरी as in they didn't tell us what would have happened, but like by their dialogue and by the professions and all of that they are in. छोटे छोटे बीच में dialogue, there was a mention of COVID etc. So इन सब चीज़ों में उन्होंने पिछले 1 साल का, 2-3 साल का, उनकी पूरी लाइफ का mention दे दिया, and then the rest is for the audience to figure out, है ना. So these are the kind of tricks that they've used to utilize their 13-minute ka run time really well. I really like the saas bahu ka nok jhok, all of that. The older generation looking at the younger generation and being jealous and being, अरे ये तो आजकल के बच्चे types. But at the same time, appreciating them for living their lives. She actually says her in a dialogue that you live life on your own terms, and that's good. So that part I really liked. Only one gripe I had with the film overall in terms of writing and all was that towards the end when the final conflict, तो क्या ही कहेंगे, स्पॉइलर वॉइलर की कोई सीन नहीं है इसमें, बट when the final climax happens और उसके बाद जब वो फिल्म को वाइंड अप करने का टाइम आता है, it used the same technique that it did in the start. जैसे स्टार्ट में इन्होंने टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करा बिल्कुल भी एस्टैब्लिशिंग शॉट्स में, स्टार्ट में कोई भी ठहराव नहीं दिया, वो स्टार्ट में समझ में आता है. बट टूवर्ड्स द एंड व्हेन आई एम ऑलरेडी हुक्ड, आई वुड हैव वांटेड अ मच स्लोअर एंड अ मोर, मैं अभी हाथ से वो जेस्चर कर रहा हूँ, द फीलिंग दैट आई एम गेटिंग, बट अ मोर रिच एंडिंग, मतलब थोड़ा ठहराव होता, थोड़ा ब्रीदेबिलिटी होती. बट कट 2-3 एडिट्स में, वॉइस ओवर में निकाल दिया इन्होंने एंडिंग, विच आई मीन इट्स क्विक, बट थोड़ा सा द इम्पैक्ट जो फाइनल पंच आता है उसको थोड़ा सा और लॉन्गर टाइम के लिए सस्टेन किया जा सकता था. बट अदर देन दैट आई रियली लाइक द राइटिंग एंड ऑब्वियसली इट्स नॉट अ वर्ल्ड चेंजिंग ऐसा film. It's a very small cute slice of life film and it's okay. मतलब every film doesn't have to be ऐसा इंसेप्शन लेवल की तुम्हारा पैराडाइम शिफ्ट कर दे, but it's a nice way of looking at a very often ignored and an often stereotyped relationship of a saas and bahu. Yeah, that's about it when it comes to the writing. I really liked the cinematography and the whole color palette of it. It was centered around the color of the soul kadhi, the tints that I was seeing. The soul kadhi, if you don't know, it's a pinkish color ka drink hota hai. So a lot of that was reflected in the framing and in the kind of color palette that was used. So वो भी मेरे को काफ़ी अच्छा लगा. And one thing I didn't really, obviously budget constraints, but last का जो CGI work होता है, that's very shoddy. And ठीक है, मतलब CGI गैंग्स ऑफ वासेपुर जैसी फिल्म को डिरेल नहीं कर पाया तो ऐसे क्या करेगा. सो ठीक है, दैट्स अ लेसन फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस दैट बैड CGI cannot sabotage a good film. And if I'm not wrong, the actor who played the daughter-in-law ka character, Radha, she is the director of the film, Sameeha Sabnis, and she's done a really nice job. I would say that she is a very bright filmmaker and I would love to check out more work from her in the future. So yeah, that was pretty much it for the film. I really like it, if that's what you're asking me. Do I like Soul Kadhi? I really like it. And in general, do I like this initiative by Film Companion and Netflix? I really love it because it's a nice thing to see more unexplored voices come forward and make films. So I would really, want to check out more of these films. So yeah, that was it from this episode of Do I Like It? This was Prateek and I'll see you in the next one. But before you go, मुझे बताओ यार कि तुम्हें सोल कड़ी कैसी लगी, एंड इन जनरल द ड्रिंक एंड द फिल्म, बिकॉज अकॉर्डिंग टू अंजलि फ्रॉम आवर पॉडकास्ट टीम इट्स लाइक अ वेरी नाइस कूलर चिलर थिंग. आई हैव नेवर हैड इट, सो लेट मी नो व्हाट आर योर फेवरेट सोल कड़ी स्टोरीज एंड let me know what movies would you want us to review next. Also, should I check out more films from this Take 10 ka series, because all of the short films are there on Netflix, so let me know what more films do you like. And this was Prateek, and I'll see you in the next one. Do I Like It is a Quint original podcast, executive produced by Shelly Walia and Ritu Kapoor. This episode was written and edited by Prateek Lidhu and produced by Anjali Palod. The episode uses audio from Netflix, and the theme music is from BMG Production Music. You were listening to the Quint's podcast.